Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to On the Spot Motorsports Media. I'm your host, Mitchell Gunter, right along with Robert Simpson. And I tell you what, guys, and girls, we got a great show tonight. We have Bob Bender joining us, Stock Eliminator driver. And I tell you what, he has got one of the most beautiful cars that you will see at the drag strip. You know, Bobby talks a lot of times about the car show, Bobby Fazio on his podcast. And surely when you watch Stock Eliminator and Super Stock, it is like a car show of cars going down the track. But before we bring Bob on, we have a few commercials we'd like to run. So just hang tight and we'll be right back after these messages.
Reliability to drive thousands of miles. Confidence for those who fly high. Redline oil products give you the power to crush the competition and a track record of being the best. Redline oil products. You push it to the limit, we'll protect it.
Ready to take your engine to the next level? Scorpion Racing Products delivers precision-engineered, high-performance rocker arms that dominate the track. 100% CNC machined in the USA with aerospace-grade aluminum for unmatched strength and durability. Our rocker arms handle extreme conditions with multiple ratios available to fit your needs. Backed by our exclusive lifetime warranty. When performance matters, choose Scorpion Racing Products. Proven, reliable, unstoppable.
If your trailer looks like a jalopy, you're missing the party. Time to level up with FB Trailers. Located in Orange Park, Florida, right on Blanding Boulevard, FB Trailers is your ultimate stop for all your trailer needs. Whether you're hauling race cars, ATVs, or even a whole stack of toys, we've got you covered. We carry top brands like CargoMate, Forest River, and ATC, ensuring you get nothing but the best. From sleek car haulers to robust cargo trailers, our variety is as diverse as the racers who trust us. Why do racers choose FB Trailers? Because we know the road to victory isn't just about speed, it's about reliability and quality. Our trailers are built to endure the toughest and longest hauls. And it's not just about sales, we offer parts and service to keep you rolling smoothly. So next time you're in Orange Park, swing by FB Trailers on Blanding Boulevard or visit us online at fbtrailers.com. Gear up with the trailer that's as dedicated to racing as you are. FB Trailers, your ticket to the winner's circle.
Well, Bob, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. I tell you what, you've been pretty busy, especially starting off the beginning of the season at Gainesville and going to Louisiana and out west. But before we get into all of that, the one thing I want to do the most is I want to thank you for your service to our country. I really do appreciate that, and it does not go without thinking, of the sacrifices that y'all actually went through during that time.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, we want to tell you thank you very much for you and others for your service, all the men and women. And Bob, I tell you what, buddy, Mitchell and I are happy that you come on tonight, because to say that you've been busy is an understatement. Right now, I think you're at a in Ohio.
Yeah, I'm
going to the next race. So, I mean, you are just extremely busy. So tell us about it.
It's been fun and a little tiring, fun. And here I've actually had a chance to relax, do some things on the motorhome and get done, and and just talk old times with Jeff here too.
So tell us now, I mean, how many events have you gone to so far this year? I think you've gone to, 6 or 7 national events, and how many divisionals?
Well, I went to Gainesville for the Baby Gators in the national, and then No Problem was a double there, and Phoenix was just a national, Pomona was just a national, and Vegas was a national and a double divisional.
Yeah, that's a real busy schedule right there, and not just talk about going out there and racing, and but the drive in between, from Florida to Louisiana, and then you go on out west and compete in those other races. That's a lot of driving in between.
Well, yeah, the driving was long, but I I just couldn't believe if I ever see an interstate sign that says I-10 West, I think I'll have a seizure. I mean, it seemed like forever.
Yeah.
I've been on that road myself. I've drove all the way to California, and actually, I actually got off of I-10 instead of going up through Phoenix. I actually took I-8 and went on out into San Diego, and then up the 5 up toward LA. But yeah, it is quite a drive, especially there in Texas. It's really funny, and you can probably vouch for this story. But when you get out there, out west Texas, you see lights. If you're driving at night, you see lights off in the distance, and you're like, "Oh shoot, the next town's not that far away." Well, those are lights in Mexico. They're not lights in the United States.
Yeah. Not exactly in the same zip code, that's for sure.
No, look at out town.
Yeah, little to none. I tell you, Bob. Now, something that Mitchell was mentioning is you race and compete in one of the coolest stockers that is currently out there running now. You run, I believe, it's a '69 Impala. It's a Kingswood wagon. Is that correct?
Yep, Kingswood wagon.
Okay, is that the 9-passenger?
No, no, she's a 6-passenger.
She's a 6-passenger. Okay, it doesn't have the third jump seat. And I'll tell you what, that, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the coolest cars out there and very, very clean. But tell us something about your car. Tell us the history. When did you get it?
Well, I think it was '03. It might have been '01 or '02 that Andy, the owner, passed away, and his son had it at my friend's house, and went up to do a carburetor for his stocker. And the wife went over and looked at it, and she said, "This thing is really cool." And I looked at that, and I said, "I think we finally found something that's uglier than me." And she goes, "No, no, 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 that's really neat." And next thing I know, a couple of days later, we're taking it home.
Was it white, or did you have to do a whole lot to it?
No, it had a burgundy top, then it was white, and then it had burgundy on the sides with a blue interior.
Whoa.
Yeah, it wasn't real pretty. So I figured that when I got a chance, got a buddy that's in the body business that kind of retired, and we did a quickie paint job on it, and it came out really nice. He did good work, and the paint now is probably 8-10 years old, and
Really?
it's showing some signs of wear, but it still looks good from 10 feet, so I'm good.
Oh, no, it's surprisingly. I mean, really, it's a good looking piece, and I wouldn't have known the way you described it that it was a quickie paint job. I would figure that you really had to finagle your friend to paint a car that large and do all the work required, because that's a lot of material right there.
Yeah, I think next time might be a wrap.
Yeah, yeah. You're right about that. But
a lot of people's going to those. I tell you see it all over the place, and with the technology now, I mean, the wraps look just about as good as the paint.
I talked to Tony Stewart in Gainesville this past year, and I really like that blue. They call it chrome blue, and where my stripes are, I might just have them wrap those stripes in the bottom, rocker panels with that instead of dark blue. Just see what it looks like.
I think that'd be kind of good. Be very photogenic. That's for sure.
Yeah, it'd be different. I like different things.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
Really weird cars over the years. I built a '73 Vega wagon 4-cylinder stick. It ran Z stock.
Oh man. Okay. Wasn't there a fellow that won the Sports Nationals one year in the '70s with one of those?
Yeah, that was Mountain Division 3.
Yep. Okay.
But
It's a
I had
competitive
the very
car.
first. I had the very first, and then he called me and wanted to build one. Me, like a dummy, I gave him too much information.
Oh, geez. Okay. It was like that, huh?
Yeah,
Well, hey,
that was a
here's a
lesson
little
learned.
well learned. Here's a little Vega 4-cylinder little note you might not know about me. That was the very first engine I ever rebuilt was a Vega 4-cylinder and a Monza 4-cylinder, and I still have the tool that goes on the cylinder head to hold the lifter pucks down so you can take the camshaft out. I still got it in all on a back shelf now. Nobody's going to need it.
Where the little
But
corners, where the little corners on it rolled up from them lifters trying to push it up.
yep, yep,
Yeah,
yep.
my
They
feet when I got rid of it.
They sure were, but it's the only lifesaver you're going to have if you're going to take a camshaft out of one of them things.
That's definitely the only way of getting it out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it is. And people don't realize that actually it has a lot of things even similar to an LS combination right now, including the oil pump and the freestanding cylinders. It's
Yeah.
got a lot of similarities. So that's a small world. I didn't realize you had that.
Yeah, the big problem was I needed to get sleeves in it, and NHRA rule and stock back then was that you could have, like in a V8, 7 sleeves and one natural cylinder. And I said, you can't
Right.
do that with this because you can't put a steel ring on an aluminum cylinder.
Right.
So anyway, they did it, and once we got the sleeves in it, it ran a whole lot better.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. That's for sure. But your current car, your Impala that you have now, it's a 350 combination, correct?
350, 255, yes.
Okay, so it's a similar combination as far as like what came in Camaros, Novas, and Corvettes and Chevelles of that era. It's exact same style
Correct.
combination, right?
Yes.
Okay, and
But a different factor on it than the 255s of today and the Camaros and the Novas and all. When I got it, it was factored at 280. And I argued with them saying, hey, it's in a 4,500-pound car. It's not in a 3,200-pound Nova. How can you keep that the same? So I got it all the way down to refactored to 263.
Oh man, that is a good
So
combination.
that helped a lot. Yes.
Now the Kingswood wagons, they also came with 400s and 454s as well, correct? But that particular one had a 350.
Well, in '69, you could get the 427, the small, the 380 horse, and the 4 1/4 in it.
Right.
And the 396 you could get, but it was only a 2-barrel. 327 was only a 2-barrel. And none of that impressed me, so I stuck with the 255.
Yeah, and if you ever found an original 2-barrel 396, that would be pretty impressive to say the least.
They run pretty good, but you're dealing with, basically a truck motor. The intake's not great, and the heads aren't great.
Oh yeah, no, I totally agree. It's just finding one of those would be rarer than a hen's tooth right now. If you ever tried to find it, I'm sure be pretty hard to find it. Okay, so we understand what drew you towards it, and that is a very, very cool car. What classes can you run? You're currently running an O stock, but what classes can you run with it?
Well, originally it was a natural O car. I could run N, O, and P. As I got the horsepower off, it made it now a natural P car. So in P, I pick up 3/10 on index. So I kind of run it in O to stay out of trouble, because if you tune it up and you pick up 3 more tenths on the index, you get those one under hits, and a couple of them, they start looking at you, and I don't want that.
Right.
I got you. But you're currently running an O. What's your index in O, and how quick have you been?
The index is 1315, and at Gainesville this year, with a fresh motor with a really set of crappy heads on it, it went 920 under.
Jeez. Okay. So 1220 something, 1230s, the high 1220s, 1222 in a 4,200-pound car.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I don't care who you are. That is impressive. That is very impressive. Gee whiz, man. And I mean, that is. I mean, think about what you're doing. You're taking something at a standstill that weighs 4,200 pounds. You're foot braking it, no trans brake, no nitrous, with a flat top 350 with an open chamber head, a quater jet, and a 39410 lift camshaft at the valve. Okay,
Yep.
there you go. Is that pretty much in a nutshell?
Oh yeah.
Okay, and running
Didn't
1220s.
never said there's no nitrous. I didn't say that.
Bob. What's the first rule of Fight Club? You know, you don't talk
I get
about it. We're gonna have to talk afterwards on where that's exactly hidden because I got to learn that one.
it's on the intake. It's really easy. I can show you.
Okay. I'll take you up on that one. That'll be a good one. But I tell you, Bob. Now, Mitchell and I were both talking that you have a great racing career. But tell us, how did you get started?
Well, back in '64, I was 15 years old, and I hung out with the older crowd and had them teaching me cars. Cars just fascinated me. So one of the guys had a '63 Galaxy 427 4 1/4, and he said, "Kid, if you can get the valves done right on this thing, you're in, and we'll help you out. And I've got a '55 Junior Stocker over there that I'm a Ford guy, not a Chevy guy, but we'll get it running, and you can drive it." Well, I got the valves right. He was tickled to death. A couple of weeks later, we got the '55 together, went to Cecil County, and I won with it. So the next week, I won with it. The third week, I won, and the guy in the tower, the manager, is writing a check. He said, "Young man, let me see your driver's license." And I went, "I don't have one." So didn't get that check.
Yep, they're at the house.
Well, that's part of the rule book. You have to have a driver's license. So that was in like August. And then in February was my birthday, and in March I had my license. So when I
then
went back,
you went back to Cecil in March, right?
yeah. But it's funny. I just enjoyed it, and sidestepping that clutch and getting your head throwed back, that just was an awesome feeling, and it is still today.
No doubt. But what did you step up to next after the Junior Stocker?
Well, a buddy of mine, Mike Delhaney from out in Division III, he had a '66 Biscayne 2-door and a 4-door. So it was shiftless 1 and shiftless 2. So he asked me to drive the 4-door, which ran H, and I'll tell you, I had so much fun with that car, man. It ran really decent back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, the engine guy that I used, he had a B-stick 400 Pontiac, ran B-stick, and he said, "I'm doing something wrong. Can you drive this? I can watch the car." Next thing I know, I drove it all that year. We set the national record with it. I finished 5th in the division with it, and at Maple Grove, their money trail points, I finished 7th in that.
It sounds like if somebody just wants you to go fast or wants their car to go fast, just ask you to step in. That's what it sounded like.
I think I can still throw the gears back and forth, but the automatics, that was a game changer for me. Jim Beatty and I were pretty good friends back in the day, and I did a lot of testing in the parking lot for him and blew up a lot of stuff. And Jim was just a great guy, and he wanted to get the converter thing mastered. And it was like a challenge of challenges for him.
Right.
And finally, on July the 4th, 1976, out in the parking lot, he hit a home run with the converter, and we ran it in the car for, I'm going to say, 2 months, 0 problems. Then he went back through the transmission, looked at the converter, put it all back together, and said, "Run this thing till it falls apart," and it never fell apart.
Did he start producing the converters after that?
Oh yeah.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
and a lot of people knew Jim and I were that close, but he was one of the greatest people I met in this sport.
Okay, now is this ATI?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
There you
Now
go,
it's,
ladies and
he
gentlemen.
has it now, and they're still a good bunch of people. But speaking of that, I'd like to mention a couple people that helped
That's
me
Tim
out.
right there. Thanking you about the trip out west and everything. They had a really good time.
Yeah, I was going to mention you, Tim. We're definitely getting to you, Tim and Miss Linda Barrett. But please, you were going to say something, Bob.
Yeah, I'd like to thank a few people that have helped me get this whole mess together. And the first one is Warren Racing Engines in Clinton, North Carolina.
Oh,
Jeff,
yeah.
the crew down there, they were having trouble getting the ring package and stuff, and they got it, and they got me going. I knew the heads, somebody else had pretty much ruined them, and I knew they were crappy, but they got it all done. And like I said, I unloaded in Gainesville with 920 under. I was tickled to death, and it still runs like a top. And I've changed the oil in it 3 or 4 times already, and just trying to keep it forever. But I finally found another set of heads and working on them now. But I want to thank Hoops Fire Protection and Motorsports for helping me out, and they're a good bunch of guys too, and they're giving me a lot of help. And the others, Dave Collette lets me use his race shop, and we made up a table and it has on there Collette's Adult Daycare, and that's a race shop.
So you keep the wagon over in the corner?
Well, sometimes. Last winter it was in there because we found so much broken stuff underneath the car. The upper trailing arms, one was pulled apart, the other was broken half, a couple cracks here and there, and then going across Texas, it cracked the frame again, had to refix it. But it's getting old and tired. It's kind of like me. I just wish I could find a welder to fix me, but no, those guys have really, really been kind to me and helpful, and it's all good. And then out west, Paul Wong. I've known Paul for a long time, and Paul said, "Come stay at the house," and treated me like royalty out there, and good bunch. And the Grossi family, they adopted me, and they fed me, took good care of me, so it was all good.
That's good to hear. Mitchell?
Yeah, it sounds like you had a really great time. It was a great experience for you. As moving forward, what are some of the upcoming races that you will be participating in this year?
Well, like I say, I'm here in Ohio with my friend Joe Martins now. Going to run the double divisional next week and the national, and then I'm going home and do some extensive work on the drivetrain, and go to New Media. And I'm not 100% sure. Maybe Bowling Green. I don't know, but definitely going to Indy. And was going to go to Texas in the fall, but I had enough of Texas from that 877 miles across the top of it.
I bet you didn't have enough like I did, because I ran out of gas outside of Fort Stockton.
Oh, God. Wow. Now,
Yeah,
it was
Mitchell,
just rough. Those days, those 2 days we were across there, the wind's blowing 45 and 50. And, if you do the 10 and 2, we were like, 12 and 6 because the wind's hitting you so hard to keep it on the road.
Oh, yeah. Because I think, didn't Tim and Linda Barrett, didn't they make the trip with you out there?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, because yeah, I know y'all kept tabs on each other, but driving that kind of wind.
Yeah, we were nose to tail. So I mean, we didn't let each other get too far away from each other because
Right.
you never know what's around the next corner. The the one part there in Texas, I don't know how the wind got under that little 4-inch piece of vinyl that's the topper for the slide, but it got it out of there somehow and blew it out, broke the spring in the end of it, and had to stop and cut it off.
Jeez, man, I know them little things with this, the windstorms and stuff will just hit you out of nowhere, and you driving an RV, stuff like that. It's just a rolling billboard, so it's gonna pick up that side wind. But I got to tell you something, Bob. The first time I met you, it was at the Baby Gators. I want to say it was in 24. Yeah, I think it was 24, and I met you over at Tim's trailer. I just come walking up, introduced myself to Tim and his wife, and got talking to him about their car and things like that. And then he goes, "You want to meet somebody cool?" And he pointed me at you and introduced me to you. And you were just as nice then as you are.
He didn't meet me. If somebody was standing behind me.
Yeah, he wasn't looking through you. It wasn't nothing. Actually, I think you had a similar comment to that right there. You kind of turned around and stuck it like, "Hey, me," and all this stuff like that. And he just smiled and rolled his eyes and all that stuff like that. So,
I tell people that I'm a nobody in the world of somebody's. I just try to keep low key, and you know what I mean.
Right. I understand where you're talking about. You kind of fly under the radar as far as
but that
announcing
trip,
yourself.
yeah, the trip kind of, made it all, known and into a real big deal. I
Yeah.
I don't do well with the pats on the backs and stuff like,
Yeah.
like being in the military and stuff. When they give you medals and stuff, it's like for me, if standing there, it's like I'm embarrassed almost that, hey, I did my job. I should get a thank you, not a medal.
Right.
You're right. No, we understand that. And I can definitely we can respect what you're saying because we understand what you mean. But I tell you, back what Mitchell was saying, you've had a fantastic year. You had a close class runoff with Mr. McNeil. I wish you were here, Freeman, or
Yes.
AKA Hollywood. And also, no, he calls his son Hollywood. But anyway, with the taxi, we love Mr. Freeman. Great sport. But you had a great runoff with him in the class final. And that's probably one of the few times that you've had to give up the handicap, right?
No, I ran 2 other rounds that I had to spot them.
Really?
I ran a U. Yeah, Ron Ortiz's wagon, I think is U.
That's
and then
right.
I ran an R, and then I ran McNeil. But McNeil lifted just a tick early, and I only lost him by 5,000.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought you were coming down on him. I didn't know he backed into it.
yeah, it was close down there.
Okay.
But he's a great guy.
Oh, he is. All I saw was the grin on both of y'all's faces when y'all come around the corner. Y'all were both just smiling from ear to ear.
Yeah. It was funny. Costello was interviewing him, and I'm on my little scooter and come around a corner, and they're hollering and screaming. I come back. So me and him are hugging each other and show, he's showing his trophy, and he left it on the roof of the car. So I left. I come back. I was sneaking around the back of the car. I was going to take it, but he caught me.
I could see that. Yeah, he went up the return road and was holding it on the top of his car.
Yeah.
That's Mr. Freeman. He definitely does that. But then you turn around the next race. You went over to to No Problem, and you ran for class there too, correct?
Yes. And the other gentleman went red.
Well, it don't matter. You were there, and you got the win. And all in between, you're going some rounds at the events.
Well, Pomona was wild. I pulled in there. Tim was in front of me, and I pulled in there, and it was like I got chills, man. This is like where it all happened, and got there in stacking, was walking around, and like I say, the Grossi family come over and introduced themselves, and a whole bunch of other people come over to introduce themselves and talking and stuff. And I'm just like a little kid, just, with the mouth open and the eyes real big, looking around like, wow.
Yeah.
And that's one of my favorite things about Stock Eliminator, because you get to see the history still going strong from the 60s and 70 model cars competing just like they did when the beginning of the NHRA history started with Wally Parks. And all those cars that compete in there, those are history pieces that everyone gets to see. And I think we need to encourage the fans to not just watch the nitro cars and pro stock motorcycles, but stay in the stands and watch these cars perform. That is the building block of where we are now.
Yeah, they it's been around for a long time, and I just wonder what NHRA or even IHRA, if they get back up on their feet, what are they going to do? The average age of a racer today is like 59, 60 years old. And,
Yeah.
you got a handful of kids that brought that average down a little bit, but, when we all die, there won't be many cars going down the track.
Yeah, we don't look towards that, but we understand what you're saying. We're talking NHRA and IHRA hopefully is going to do more things to accommodate to sportsman racers, to make it more appealing to them to come in and to keep the sport alive, especially sportsman racing, for sure. Because I agree with you, because I've been raised in it. I'm raised in stock and super stock, and you can ask Mitchell. I absolutely love it. And so there's nothing like coming around the morning of class, anywhere you're at, and looking at all these racers with enough ice to freeze a state over, chilling things down, airing the tires up until they're round, dropping a cord out, doing whatever you got to do, because you're going to take your shot on being as quick as you can to beat that other competitor. And what doesn't matter what they have, obviously, and it doesn't matter what class you're in, from A all the way down to U or V or even W. I'm sorry, all the way down. So that's the part of it, that the competition of the class is what makes it good. And there is a very good video out there, ladies and gentlemen. We encourage everybody to go over to Bobby Fazio's Facebook page, and also to his YouTube channel and everything, Driver's Interview with Bobby Fazio. He has a video on there in car of Joey Shipp and his 69 Nova racing Mr. Bender at the Gator Nationals. Okay. And you got to call it. You got to see who, you got to ask Bob who won, because I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell at the finish line, but it was a heck of a good race. And you really got that feeling of what it's like to be in the competition of it. But Bob, during that race, who won it?
Oh, Joey did. Yeah,
it was tight, wasn't it?
It was darn close. And I believe it was a double breakout. And I come out on the wrong end of it. But the video shows it pretty good, man. I mean, we were dead side by side.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it shows the handicap, and there was no hunting you down fast. That's for sure. It's the gradually passing you on the interstate kind of thing. It wasn't. It wasn't the coming down on you fast like a Copo or something like that.
He's a nice young man too. I mean, really, really pleasant and so on. And it's all good. But
well, you were talking a while ago about the average age of people racing that's still around, being in the 50s. We bracket racers. There's a lot of bracket racers, and to be honest with you, if it wasn't for the bracket racers and the sportsman racers that we have today, we are actually the ones that keep NHRA afloat. We are like the stock members of the organization. And I'm surprised that we don't have more people that bracket race try to go over to super stock and stock eliminator because it's kind of similar as far as when you're running against the other classes, because you're going to be competing against a slower car or a faster car. And, bracket racing, we get pretty good at judging the top end of the track, which is basically what you have to do in stock eliminator. So we just need to get more people to come over there and try to race in stock eliminator. And of course, if you want to run it for a national event, you have to go run the divisionals, and you have to get your score points to be able to get into a national event.
Yeah. No, I tell you, back in the day with my stick shift cars, I ran bracket races with them. I'd end up at the end of the season on a stock eliminator car with 900 runs.
Jeez.
And didn't do much for the ring package by the end of the season, but it stayed together and had a lot of fun with them.
Now, what do you recommend? What do you recommend now that NHRA should consider doing to help bring in people to the sport, primarily to stock and super stock? Do you have any ideas or recommendations that you would like to see happen?
Well, to me, they got to stop doing this crazy stuff, man. They want to put roller rockers in them now, air shifters, and I'm like, we don't need that expense. If you can't shift your car, you go get another job.
Or a different car.
Yeah, I can understand if you're in an 8-second or faster car and, having an air shifter or something in super stock. I get that. But with the gearing I've got in my wagon, I'm pulling the lever very, very fast because of the gear ratio plus the tranny ratio.
Right.
And I'm in high gear probably before most people because I'm running. I got a 557 in it now, but when it warms up, I'll put the 586 in it, and
Right.
the shift come much quicker. And you guys race, you know how it is.
Yep.
It's not, you don't have a 488 or a 513 in the back of this thing. You got, in the old days, we ran 617s in them.
Mm-hmm.
So
so you're as soon as you take off, you're right there for second.
Yes.
What I mean, no matter what. Yeah, so you got to be on it. And I agree with you. There's a lot of rules I don't agree with, but you were saying, what else?
And I'm the same way, Mr. Bender. I'm the same way. If it's not broken, why try to fix it? If it's working great for everyone, everyone's happy with their combinations that they're running, why try to throw all these different things into the class?
Well, I'm not a smart man, but I can tell you this: somebody's making money, and it's the people making the product, and I think the sanctioning body for allowing them to come in to sell this crap, to put roller rockers in stock. Roller lifters in stock. That's ridiculous.
Right.
That's a super stock thing, not for us. The shifter thing. I'm 76 years old, and if I can't shift the car, I need to get the hell out of it.
Right. No, and I would agree with you. The things I would consider looking at versus those rules there is that, like the SFI, we have to get on our seat belts, and how often we have to get that done. That's always been a head scratcher to me. Even dirt cars that are left out in the sun 24/7 don't have to get their belts recerted as often as a drag car.
I can tell you an argument. I can tell you an argument I had. I can legally run the 1 3/4 OEM seatbelt in my car per NHRA rule.
Right.
I want to do that. So when Robert, when you take your belts out of your car because they're expired, I'll take your lap belt. I put it in my car.
Yep.
Put plates underneath. Make it safe. Yep. And they said, "Oh, you can run it expired." And then I hold up that antique seatbelt from 1969. I said, "You want me to run this? An 1 3/4 belt versus a 3-inch Simpson belt?"
Right.
Well, it took 6-8 months of fighting. Then they finally said, "Okay, well, you only run so fast. All right, we'll let you run the expired belt."
Yeah. And it's funny you mention that because that's exactly what I got in my Nova streetcar. The stock lap belts somebody cut out with a hot iron. It wasn't me. Okay, and I had some old my dad's old 5-point Simpson harness. Okay, and so I took, and just like you said, I put the plates on it, eye bolts clipped, and I got a 3-point lap belt, but it's out of date. And Mitchell, one of the bracket finals we went to, he said, "Oh, your belts are out of date." And I said, "The car don't even have a roll bar in it because I'm not that quick, mid 12s." And I said, "No," and he's like, "Going, oh, the belt's expired." I said, "You're only required to have aftermarket belts if you have a roll bar in it."
Yes.
And I said, "Really?" And I said, "Which means in this case you would have to have the jacket and everything." The car's not even quick enough for a roll bar. I don't have a roll bar in it. I upgraded the seat belt with a better belt. It just doesn't have a date on it.
Well, would you say in that, and with some of the things going on now with NHRA, and trust me, I love the NHRA. I love what they do for our sport, but I think sometimes we have people that are teching in cars that actually need to go to tech school. I think they need a tech school. They need them to go get trained. They need someone to go into each one of these division tracks, sit down with them, train them, tell them what they should have, what they shouldn't have. And like if they get in situations like that, they will know what the rules are, and they wouldn't complain about your belts being out of date when you don't have to have them because you don't have a roll bar in the car at all. I think it's an educational thing.
I'll give you a scenario here, and this happened to me. I took the car to a track, and I put the car in P from O, so I put the weight box in it. So the weight box is sitting in the back, over the axle, bolts down through the frame. Everything's just peachy. The tech guy comes up and says, "You can't have that fuel cell in the car." I said, "Oh, I'm going to have to drain the gas out of it?" He goes, "Yeah." So I go in and start taking the bolts out of the top of it. He says, "What are you doing?" I said, "Showing you it's a weight box. I'll show you the weight that's in it." "Oh, it's a weight box?"
Yeah. Where are you going to put the gas in it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have. I've seen that, and I've seen people talk about, just like you said, when they allowed the Kirky aftermarket seats, to go into Stock Eliminator or just aftermarket seats, and everybody was like going, "Oh, just put them in there, put them in there, put them in there." I says, "Did anybody ever think about the class where a roll bar is not required?" I said, "Is there any rule on how the seats should be mounted and braced?" And I promise you could hear a pin drop, and then their jaw hit. And I was talking to tech people, and I said at a divisional race, and they're like, "Well, nobody's doing that." Who says nobody's going to do that? You know what I mean? I said, front wheel drive guys got such a hard time on moving weight from class to class. You mean to tell me somebody wouldn't do that? You know what I mean? And
well, I already talked to Lonnie Grimm and said, "Here's the scenario. I'm taking my bench seat out. I'm putting aftermarket seats in it, and I'm still going to run the expired belt." "Oh, you're not going to put a roll bar in it?" "No, it's not required."
Exactly.
Well, it took about 15 minutes, and he said, "No, show me pictures, and I'll be fine."
See, but at least he gave you an answer.
Yeah.
A lot of these people, when they make the rule, they didn't realize potentially some other consequences. Here's one more scenario. You'll like this. When they changed the rule and allowed you to run the Turbo 200 in a Power Glide combination, and I heard they were doing it for some of the middle classes, because the 283s in the middle classes and some other things and some of the new cars coming out. And then, everybody was excited about it. I said, did anybody ever once think about the gentleman who had the black 60, Wade Owen? I think it was Wade Owen. He had the black 66 Chevelle 283.
Wade bar flew.
Right. And he had a Power Glide in it, and it flew. I said, did anybody ever think if he puts, which he will, put a 3-speed in it, just how far under it? Or Billy Neese with his 6-cylinder Nova that at the time was running 9/10 under, And once again, you just heard crickets in the background because nobody once ever thought about that. And I was like, going, do you realize the consequences, which or what you're potentially saying? And, and they just kind of just turned a blind eye and walked away. And sure enough, man, Wade showed up the next week with a 3-speed and he was going at 2 tenths, 3 tenths quicker than before. And I'm like going, oh, just one of those, you just slap your forehead like, whatever.
Yeah, speaking of Billy, my wife drove the brown car, the Niece's Pieces car for a while, the 307 2-barrel.
Yeah.
He drove that for a while.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He told me last time I talked to him, he said a couple people's driven that car. He's had that combination together for like 12 years. Huh?
There's been more than a couple. If he actually rented that thing out, he'd be a millionaire. There's a lot of butts in the seat, so to speak.
I believe it. It's going to be even more competitive this year. I know that for sure because I've talked to him already this year. It's going to be more competitive. But yeah, he's a great. I love talking to Billy. Man, passionate, knowledgeable. It's like,
Billy,
how can you not like that?
Man, and he did one hell of a job on them.
Say again?
They picked the car up 900.
What's that? Who did?
Billy, the headers he built for me.
Oh, he built them for your car?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah, he's a very savvy individual, that's for sure.
Yep.
But I tell you what kind of you said how many runs you got on your car so far this year?
Oh God, I'll be honest with you. I've just kept changing the oil. I've got them in the logbook. I was afraid to look.
Yeah, I know. No, I get it. Mitchell and I do the same thing, or sometimes you just don't want to look. I mean, he races. We race against each other all the time, and his car's got over 200,000 miles on it.
216,000 now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and we race each other all the time, and he drives it daily and races it a lot. So it's just the way it is. But I tell you something. You've run a lot. But I mean, you're currently 22nd national points. You're 12th in Division I points, and I mean, and it's only mid-June. That is a really good start.
Well, I need to knuckle down and concentrate a little bit better, and try to do that this coming weekend, and start making some rounds. I've been just doing stupid things: red light, red light, red light. And in qualifying runs, I've been 18, 28, 30. And on race day, I get happy feet, I guess, and goof up.
Now, when you do have those issues with red lights, do you do any, just for people to know here on the show, do you try to change by adjusting tire pressure in the front tires?
Oh, absolutely. And I even adjust the back, and then I come down off the converter a little bit, been just maybe doing too much.
Oh, I got you. Gone too much one way.
Yeah. Because it's very important. It's very important not to change yourself, but to change the car.
Right.
Which totally makes sense. Now, you've also not only have you won class, but I mean you've won a lot of races, and you've won some combo races. I think didn't you win the combo race up in Maryland?
Yeah, the Mason-Dixon drag. Mason-Dixon drag.
So you won a combo race against super stockers and stockers.
Yes. And I would love to find that same person in me that day, because I was 00 all day.
Well, you could say find that person in you, but you did make it down to the final 4 cars in Pomona.
Yes, sir.
And there's a whole lot of people that can't say that.
Yeah, I know.
And I think you went down to Jeff Atkinson, who won the event.
Yes.
That's saying something. So, I don't think anybody takes you slack, Mr. Bob. I don't think nobody takes you slack.
Well, at Phoenix, C.W. Hofer come over to me and he said, "You got a lane choice?" And I said, "Nah, man." I said, "You take whatever you want." I said, "I'm crappy in both lanes." And he goes, "You're 18 on this one and 005 in that one. That's not too crappy to me." And I'm like, wow, he pays attention.
Yeah, well, CW. I mean, sportsman world champ and national event winner, and yeah, he's been around. He knows what he's doing. But just like you said, more people watch you than you watch them.
Yeah, and that because he said to me, he come over to the pit and he goes, "Hey, man," he says, "I seen you put your head down." He said, "Don't do that." He said, "You had me. 22,000 made the race, and I just didn't scrub off enough."
Right.
So, but he's a heck of a nice guy.
No
Now,
doubt.
one thing I want to talk about is, the U.S. Nationals are coming up. They'll be here before we actually know it at the end of August. Now, one of the biggest things at the U.S. Nationals is being able to win class. So you're going to be running in the O class at the U.S.
Maybe
Nationals.
I might go to P to get that 3/10 on the index.
Okay.
Okay.
So how many competitors do y'all usually have to have the race off in class?
Well, in O, I'm gonna guess there's in the country probably 18 of them or so. I'm trying to think back to Nitro Joe's stats, and in P, I think there's like maybe 11, 12. But
Okay.
that doesn't always mean they're coming to Indy. But
Right.
but I'm not
Usually,
sure what I'm going to do. I got some testing to do and some changing to do, and don't want to say what I'm doing, but I got some things going on.
Right. You got to work on it and do some testing. That totally makes sense. But I guess, well, obviously, if you don't have a runoff in class, then you're going to be in the combo. So either way, so it doesn't matter how you look at it. You're planning on being there. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, not a fan of the combo.
No, I'm not either. I'm still of the original belief that if you showed up in the national event and you qualified to be at a national event by grading points and all that stuff, you shouldn't be penalized if you're the only car in the class. So I think you should get the fruits of that. Now I can understand kind of like taking all the singles and running them off for like a money purse. You know what I mean? Something like that amongst class. But I don't think people should be penalized just because they're a single car, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, you didn't get to the Eliminator unless you won the class, and all class winners got there.
Agreed.
And then, if they didn't have enough, they'd take the qualifiers after that under the index. And then it changed that everybody was crying, my car's faster, and he came with this car, and he was only 0.8 under, and I was, 114 under, and so then they changed the format to where it's all qualifying.
Yeah.
So, don't mean crap anymore.
I know. And I agree with you. I like the original format because that's how it was, and it worked. And it clearly worked. But that's neither here nor there. But how many class wins have you earned so far?
I got 9 over the years, and that's a lot of years. And, a lot of it, the years of racing, I shied away from stock a little bit and just went bracket racing locally and did Cecil County and Maple Grove. And then, like I said, when she seen that ugly thing that now looks pretty decent, setting in the field, we went back to Stock Eliminator.
Oh, okay. So she talked you into it.
Oh yeah, she was the boss. She loves Stock Eliminator, and like I say, she drove a front wheel drive car for a while and did really, really well with that. Took it to her first divisional, and she went to round 4.
Really?
Yeah, first division. I said it took me 10 years to do that.
I was getting ready to say, her first one out of the boxing went 4 rounds in a front wheel drive car.
Yep.
In Division 1, I can go on, but gee
whiz.
Okay, that's saying something, to say the least. And then
she drove Billy's car for a while, and she says, I don't want, the driving's okay, but I want to work on the thing. So she, the engine's on the dyno, and the guy says, come on, I'm going to show you how to bleed these hydraulics back and, adjust these. And I said, okay. Well, I got arthritis in the left pretty bad. I got shot in the hand once, and, the arthritis just runs rampant. So I told the guy, I said, take her in, she'll do it. She was in there 10 minutes, man, going right through the motor. So that was her job from then on. She adjusted the valves in the car. The ring and pinion that's in the wagon, which at the end of the year I got to change. It's been in there 5 seasons, and she put that ring and pinion in there.
I know how big your car is, and I just know the job that it takes to get under it. Okay. That's some real estate you got to climb under. But yeah, that just goes to show the work that she was doing. And,
it's hard on ring and pinions because of the weight of it. And, she read the instructions and said, oh, it says 8 thousandths for the backlash. She says, that's where I'm going to put it. I said, no, you're not. You're going to put it at 6. I said, after 2 weekends of running that thing, it'll be 8.
Right.
She didn't quite understand it at first. And then when she got done with it, she said, I want to check that. So she went back under, dropped the cover, put the dial indicator on it, and said, okay, I learned something today. Thank you. And from then on, put the ring and pinions in.
Yeah, ours was always the opposite in our stick cars. They always tightened up, so we had to open them up a little bit when we put them in there. But
yeah, you're hitting it pretty hard.
Yeah, we were. So, but you go through those batches where ring and pinions just aren't as good as they used to be.
That's
what
true.
I mean? And depending where you get it from and what batch or what foundry they get it, we've been through those like everybody. So, you find a good set, and then you find some really bad ones. You're like going, no rhyme or reason why, but it is what it is. Yeah. But I tell you, is this your first year on doing the Coast to Coast tour?
Yes. Penny and I had talked in when we went to Gainesville in 23. She had this stigma in her mind. She didn't want to be away from home for more than 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I don't know, she had an epiphany there that, hey, let's go west next year. And I said, are you kidding me? And she said, no. So we planned on it, and we discussed it that the week between the babies and the national, and sometime like Tuesday, Wednesday before the national event, she complained she had her neck hurt, and get her home, and it went downhill pretty quick after that.
Gotcha. I understand.
So we didn't get to do the week before she passed. She sat me down and said, listen, I know you're entered in Maple Grove because you had a credit. I want you to run that race whether I'm here or not. And you need to bring your average down, because before she passed at Seesaw, I want a couple 100s just to show her that it was,
capable.
Could. Yeah.
Right.
And had to bring that down and so on. And then she said, you need to promise me you're going to do this, 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 and this. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm fulfilling these promises. And I had a few people tell me, nobody's going to know. I said, well, I think she still knows. And I know I'll know. And I'm not going to do, when I made the promise, I stick to it.
That's it.
I'm the old school guy. Shake my hand and say, it's a deal. It's a deal.
Sounds like she was an amazing woman.
She was. I had 25 really, really wonderful years. And I mean, every couple, you have them days you don't talk for a few hours. And let's go with that. But, all in all, it was great. Raised her 2 kids.
Yeah.
All good stuff.
It sounds like yes, absolutely. And I can honestly say everybody I've spoke to, and I mean there's been quite a few here recently I've spoken to on West Coast, East Coast, and everything. And when I mention your name, they always talk of Miss Penny, and they always talk with a smile on their face, and just like what you said, just nothing but just love and respect. And so I think that's great. She made an everlasting impact on everybody she came across, and that's great.
I wondered why when we go to the races, the food bill is like $300. She'd buy all these steaks, potatoes, this, that, the other, and people walking by look over. Hey, you hungry?
Now you're like, go get a burger over there. It's okay. Just
Yeah. But no, I didn't mind. She enjoyed cooking, and she enjoyed, like say, working on the car, and it was all good.
Well, and the people that was around y'all that y'all was racing with was family. So more than likely, that's the way she felt. They were just as much family as her blood relatives.
Well, in 19, when she first got sick, I flipped Pomona on the NHRA TV, and I called her in. I said, look. And she looked. She said, what's that say on the back window of that car? And it's the Stockers all had Get Well Penny Bender on the back of their car, on the window.
Hey, that's classy right there. That is a great move right there.
Yeah.
I like hearing that. And I tell you, Tim and Linda Barrett, they reached out to us after the last podcast that we had with Brock Porter, and we were telling them, said, Bob's coming on. And boy, they were just hitting me up saying, he goes, oh man, we had a great time with the trip we had out west. You know what I mean? We had a great time with the stops and everything like that. And they were just talking it up.
It was a very good experience, and it was fun. And I'm glad that we did it. And, would I drive it out again? I don't know. The Irving family, who also treated me quite well, offered me a ride that I could fly out and drive, and Paul Wong offered me a car for the fall, to run Vegas and Pomona. So I may or may not do that. I got some surgery on my eye coming up. I got a cataract, and it's a little tough to see out of that right eye. So.
So the 20s are going to be O's again. Gotcha.
Yeah,
So that's what it is. That's what it is. Well, you see, but that's good. I mean, this is the first time that you told me earlier that you had an opportunity to meet a lot of the West Coast racers that you've spoken to but never met in person. So it was great to hear the camaraderie that you said that was out there in those different events.
Oh, it was fantastic. Like Jody Lang. I've talked to him on a computer and stuff like that, but never met him. And,
they're doing it again next year.
Have fun.
Hey, they can get a double length trailer, Bob. They can do that.
He needs to get a little more power under the hood of that motorhome.
I got you. Put big.
I just want to say something.
Go ahead.
I just want to tell Tim, don't be surprised if we give him a call to come on the podcast.
Yeah. Don't be surprised.
We say the hills around here, there are mountains out there. Like when we get back over that Continental Divide, that was 7,000 feet. You would go up in 1,000 feet increments, and it flatten out for a while, and then go up and flatten.
Yeah, it makes a believer of you, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
That's some hardcore people that go racing coast to coast, drive their stuff out there and run and all that. And man, I talked to Dallas Glenn at Bristol last weekend, and I was walking by and he hollered, "Oh, you don't talk to me no more?" And I started laughing. I said, I just got my head in the clouds here, man. And he said, "How'd you survive the sand/dust storm?" Because him and I were talking back and forth when we were parked about that, because he was at a truck stop and we were on the interstate. And I said, "I'm still getting dust out of that thing." That's right. That's what I did here. Get back in there and cleaning all the dirt out of it. It's like
it gets in all these nooks and crannies, and then when you get down the road, it shakes back out again.
Jeez. And that's on the inside too.
Yeah, the canned goods. Oh, yeah. And canned goods had dirt on top of them. It was terrible.
Was that going through Texas or out in Arizona?
The tail end of Texas into New Mexico.
Oh, into New
They
Mexico.
actually shut the interstate down because, it was blowing so hard and you couldn't see.
Jeez. How'd you get it out of the wagon?
It's still in there. There's a lot of it still in there.
You go racing again this coming weekend.
I cleaned the driver's compartment and I cleaned under the hood, and the rest of it I'll get later.
Because they're just kind of hoping you're the last car to make a hit because they're going to have to sweep the line when you take off.
Well, unfortunately, I'm normally first out, so I'll make all the mess then.
Yeah, because I think you told me that you just like being the first car out if possible, right?
Well, everybody says to me, why do you do it? And, you must have just started doing that. I showed them a picture of my Vega back in the 70s from Englishtown. And I said, no, there it is. There's the 2 lanes for stock. Who's number one? It's me standing there. And it's like, I've always done it because when they call, I come. That way, if you break something, because it drove sticks back then, if you break something, you got plenty of time to fix it.
Okay. I can see that reason. That makes sense.
You got 100 stock. It takes a while to go through them,
Right. Yeah, there you are against Ron Ortiz. Yeah. It's like I knew people that like to be the first down the track because they just like to come back and they go stand by the fence and finish watching the qualifying. I've met people that like to do that too. They're like, hey, man, whatever makes you happy, right?
You showed that picture of Ron. Ron is one heck of a nice guy. At Gainesville, he invited me over for dinner, and I didn't know he could cook. Wow.
I have heard. Okay, I've never tried some of his stuff, but I've heard people tell me he's like he can really do some cooking, and that jerky that he was involved with and stuff. And
I consider him a chef. That food was outstanding.
He's funny too.
Oh, man, yeah.
Got a sense of humor on him, and it's like, if you don't, it kind of surprises you at times. Like, okay,
I wish I could be outgoing like him. I just kind of, I'm pretty shy.
I think you're doing all right. I mean, look at you,
Bob. I actually got a great question for you, and it's something that me and Robert has been talking about here the past couple of weeks. And you know what I'm going to ask him?
I think so.
We may be looking, hopefully in the next year or two, we would like to try to find a facility to try to work with NHRA and have a super stock shootout.
Combo. Yeah.
Yeah, a combo. So
that sounds good.
But we like to kind of coordinate that with NHRA. We just have to try to figure out what division that we may want to do it in. And then we'll have to, of course, get with that divisional director and talk about, logistics of making everything work. So I would like to ask you, what facility do you think would be best to draw in a big group of stock and super stock drivers to participate?
Well, I would say like maybe Indy. I mean, it's a darn shame that Columbus is gone, and that would be a good place. Somewhere where it's kind of, halfway for everybody, and you get a lot of cars that way. And if you want to do that and make it a success, like that moving the sports nationals down to South Georgia.
Right.
That's a long haul for the Midwest guys.
Right.
The Division III guys that it was in their backyard. Now they got to run 1,200 miles.
Right. And like I said, obviously we don't know if that's going to stay there. I mean, that's kind of in our backyard, 2.5 hours away. But it's like I I liked it when it was originally in Bowling Green because
Oh
I
yeah.
liked it because that's where I first started going was, for sports nationals. So I could see eventually possibly going back there permanently since Ohio's
See,
gone.
now that is kind of central, believe it or not.
Right.
I know the guys up in the New England area. It's a hike, but it's also a hike for the guy in Texas. And the guys out in
Florida.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So you got to come up with something. But Bowling Green's good.
You're right. Now, you currently in Division One, y'all have a couple stock super stock combos races, do you not? Isn't there a 10 grand to win in Canada? And isn't there another one up there in the Northeast that y'all have?
We
Maryland,
were
Mason Dixon, maybe?
we were going to have one at the divisional that the guys are going to put on, but due to rain, we couldn't do that. The Mason Dixon one has grown a little bit on the purse, and like in 21 when I won that was 2,000, and I think last year it might have been 5. I don't know, but I know they want to make it more.
Right.
I didn't have a motor, so I couldn't go last year.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and, like you're talking about us wanting to do something like that. We want to plan it way out so we can talk to companies like Jeg Summit, Speedway Motors, and even maybe our own sponsors that we have here, Scorpion and Redline Oil, to be able to come on board and help us with that and slowly work up to it and just try to come out of the box and put something together. I think every time that you try to come out of the box and put something together really quick, it's going to fall apart just as fast.
Yeah, you gotta have planning.
Yeah, yeah. You definitely need planning, and there's a lot of moving parts. But the whole point about it is that we enjoy stock and super stock, and we believe, just like Bobby Fazio says, it's the car show, and we believe that you racers deserve to have deserve to have a race, deserve
And
to
a
have
good
the race.
purse.
With a good purse, it's worth your while. You know what I mean? And you don't worry about horsepower factors. If you want to run it out, you run it out. That's your business. And like I said, just really enjoy it. Just to see the cars, like for example, like your wagon. I think it'd be great to see an elimination run with you and Ron Ortiz, or Billy Neese, or McNeil Freeman, or have one of those cars going against a. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, let's face it. I mean, that's good. I mean, a couple years ago up at Indy, oh gosh, it's Brian Seagram. I can't remember the gentleman's name. Anyway, it was 2 front wheel drive stockers that ran off in class. They were both yellow. One was a stick, one was an automatic. They were literally within 3,000ths of each other. Okay. And it came down to 100th difference on the tree. Yes, they both went 1740s or something like that, but that was a barn burner of a good run. I don't care what anybody says. And I mean, so that kind of excitement of two cars from totally two different parts of the country going to Indy, in this particular case, squaring off, and it being that tight. That's what it's all about.
I enjoy good tight racing, and it's okay to win with the red light, it's to lose with the red light, whatever. But I'd rather get the ticket and say, oh shit, I won by $2,000, 2,000, or oh man, I lost by 2,000. But I like just good tight racing.
Yeah, no, totally agree. Last time Mitchell and I were staring at each other going through the finish line. So, no, it wasn't like that. We didn't know until the light came on. We didn't know who got what. But yeah, I know, I agree. But that's the thing about sportsman racing that's really good. And I tell you, it's also what's good about you, Bob. And you've brought. We think that you've brought more of a spotlight to Stock Eliminator by the tour that you've done in remembrance of Miss Penny, going all over the country and racing as much as you have. You have an open trailer towed behind your motorhome so everybody can see your wonderful ride. and the people that you meet, and you're actually an ambassador, and you being an ambassador going from coast to coast, okay, racing and sharing the good word about racing, and the people that you meet, the different product sponsors and stuff like that. It's great. More people need to get on board with you, Bob.
Well, I enjoy the open trailer because like going to Bristol, I don't know how many people on Interstate 81, man, was beeping horns and thumbs up out the window. And I mean, it makes you feel good.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No doubt. No doubt. And, but I tell you what, Bob, we thank you very, very much for you coming on with us tonight out of your crazy busy schedule. And, I mean, crazy busy. I mean, you're at somebody's house right now in Ohio waiting for the next race this weekend. And you're from Maryland.
Thank God I got some decent friends. They take good care of me.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know if that's going to be live stream on NHRA TV next weekend?
The divisional, yeah, that should be live stream.
Okay.
They'll probably have it on the YouTube channel, and it'll be free on NHRA TV. And then the national, you got to pay to see.
That's right. Yeah. What we try to do, like when, I'm real good friends with Warren, and whenever he's live streaming, I usually will find that live stream and I will share it to our page so people can go to our page and click on a link so they can watch the race. And I tell you, it's really great to be able to do that when, you're so far away from the track that you can just hit a couple of buttons and boom, you can watch what's going on.
Yeah, Warren's such a nice guy, man. He works his fanny off with that live stream.
He does, and hopefully one day. I mean, he had his stuff stolen out of the back of his car, for goodness sake. That
was in Vegas, I think.
Yes, and so I actually hit him up. I said, "Hey, if you need a switcher, you let me know. I'll overnight it right now. I'll run it right down to the post office, and I will get it to you." And he's like, "No, I think we got enough of stuff to make it happen." And he made it happen with half the stuff that he normally uses, and it just goes to show you his commitment to the fans that love watching racing, and to the racers for their families to be able to watch what's going on. Just a super nice guy. And like you said, he works his butt off. He really does.
He does.
Well, look, I want to thank you guys for having me on, man, because I was very honored to get the invitation, and things like this mean a lot.
No,
and
we
just want to say thank you.
Well, sincerely, we want to say thank you, sir, for not only you being a good gentleman like you are, a good man, but also for your service that you've done for us, but also you being an ambassador to everybody. I mean, come on now. I mean, look at that face. Come on now.
Well, and smile, frown. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. We got you. But like I said, you have a great story, and we wanted to share your story with others. And so that's part of what we're about. We like talking to interesting people like yourself and getting their stories out there, because not everybody knows it. And I sure didn't know a lot of the story on your wagon and other things. So it was an honor, sir.
Well, I got your number for those other things we discussed, and I'll get back to you.
Absolutely. Just let me know. And we look forward to talking to you at Indy.
Yes,
we do.
All right, Mr. Bender. And if there's anything that we can do for you here at On the Spot Motorsports Media, please let us know. We'll be more than happy.
You did me a solid by having me on here, and I gave my dinner up to be here. So,
oh, come on!
No, it's all good. I'm fat, man. I can miss a few.
No, but come on, man. We got to stick together, man. We can't miss any meals.
Well, I think I hear Joe pacing upstairs, man. I better get up there so we can go get some wings.
Oh, goodness, yeah. Have a couple for us, all right?
I sure will.
All right,
Bob.
Thank
you, Bob. Appreciate it.
Listen, Bob, have a great night, buddy.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, sir. See you now. Bye.
Bye.
All right, everyone, if you just hold on just a second, we're going to run a couple of commercials, and me and Robert will be right back after these messages.
Reliability to drive thousands of miles. Confidence for those who fly high. Redline oil products give you the power to crush the competition. And a track record of being the best. Redline oil products. You push it to the limit, we'll protect it.
Ready to take your engine to the next level? Scorpion Racing Products delivers precision-engineered, high-performance rocker arms that dominate the track. 100% CNC machined in the USA with aerospace-grade aluminum for unmatched strength and durability. Our rocker arms handle extreme conditions with multiple ratios available to fit your needs. Backed by our exclusive lifetime warranty. When performance matters, choose Scorpion Racing Products. Proven, reliable, unstoppable.
Well, I tell you what, even though the NHRA is not really running this weekend, but talking about the professionals, but there is the nostalgia race that's going on this weekend. And also PDRA is having their North versus South. And I tell you, they've been live streaming some of the practices today. And I seen Lyle Barnett go down and run, I want to say it was a 360 something. Let me double check on that real quick because I like to make sure.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's running the Mustang. I think that's the one that they call Savage title. I might be wrong, but
he's not running it in 275. No,
he is running 4 different classes this weekend,
but not with the Mustang.
No, not beer money.
No, I don't mean beer money. I'm talking about salvage title.
They're running a Mustang.
Okay, because I'm talking about the one he ran at King of the South. That's the one I'm thinking of. But that one's a Pro 275 car. But
okay, maybe it is.
I don't know. Like you said, Lau will race anything with a wheel on it, including a wheelbarrow. So
yeah, according to this, he went 368 at 204.
Okay, that might have been salvage because I mean he got runner up at King of the South with a great run against Larry Larson, but I mean
yes.
Lyle was putting it down consistently going down the track there at Shady Side. Same thing with Larson. So it was a knockdown drag out final, and Larson just got him, I guess, in about a fender, if that, at the finish line.
It wasn't much at all. I mean,
because Lau got him at the hit. Lau got him at the start. And Larson caught him by 330 and then just barely creeped past him. But it wasn't a runaway, that's for sure.
No. And I'll tell you what, Lyle, he can be very killer on the tree.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he said that he is running 4 different cars this weekend.
I believe it. He just goes from one to the other. And like you said, the NHRA Nostalgia Nationals in Bowling Green right now.
Yes.
And actually, if you go over to On the Spot Motorsports Media, you can see that Mitchell has that link right there showing the live feed. And matter of fact, I'm showing it right now. So you can see it right now.
And we'll actually put up the live feed for tomorrow as well as soon as they post it. We were a little late doing it today, but we will try to get it up as soon as possible tomorrow morning. So if you don't quite know where to go, just go to our page, hit the link, and it'll be on your phone, your tablet, or your laptop. I don't know who's live streaming. I don't know if Warren's doing that or not, but
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who is live streaming it.
I think it's
NHRA TV says
to see those cars run.
Oh yeah, it's very, very cool. It probably is Warren since it's NHRA TV. Probably is Warren Evans. But I tell you, I want to thank Mr. Bob Bender for coming on tonight and talking to us. And I tell you, we talked to him a long time before we went on air, and he is a great man with a really good, touching story. So we appreciate him coming on here and sharing with us some things. And I tell you what, Mitchell, I mean, you and I walked past. We were looking at his car at the Gators. It is very cool. You do not see too many '69 Impala Kingswood wagons.
Oh no,
Thank you,
not
Tim.
at all.
Thank you, Tim. We really wanted to get talking into the details of the car and the cylinder heads and all this but then I was like going, we'd be in the weeds for a long, long time and be getting off topic. So but
Well,
appreciate it.
and some things you don't want to mention. That
True, true. And Mitchell and I both agree that if you talk to us, especially in confidence, that's as far as it goes. And we're not going to come here online and talk to it. But I tell you what, it is impressive. The more you think about it, Mitchell, 4,200 pounds with a 350 mid 12s, foot braking. That is impressive. And so I'm sure his goal is to get that car to run 1199 one day. That I feel certain that is his goal because that would be the next plateau.
I tell you, I'm excited about going to Indy coming up for the U.S. Nationals and having the opportunity. I want to thank the NHRA for sure for giving us the credentials to be able to do some of the things that we have done this year, and hopefully we'll be able to grow it next year. But to go up there and take pictures of stock and super stock with these cars leaving the line with wheels up, it makes for some really great photos. And I tell you, we like to share them right here on the page for others to see.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we do for the Gator Nationals. I'm actually going to try to possibly next following week, I'll be out at Gainesville. I'll be doing some testing, getting ready for the next round of our Scorpion Racing Products ET Series there at Gainesville Raceway. And while I'm out there, I'm going to take some really good pictures of some of the cars that's going to be out there practicing, and maybe even try to sneak in an interview or two and talk about those vehicles.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And Mitchell, again, thank you for what you do, buddy. You do a lot of writing for the page, and we both reach out to a lot of people, and hopefully we can get some more worked out. We got some interesting people in the pipeline that if it works out, it's going to be some very interesting conversations. But we're both looking forward to Indy. We're both looking forward to having the opportunity to go back to Indy and see it, and to experience it and to feel it, but to feel class eliminations. I've felt it before. Mitchell has not had the opportunity to feel it at Indy yet, and it steps it up a notch big time. So Mitchell, you're really looking forward to that because you're gonna definitely know it, and that's the great thing. And then the opportunity to not only said to take pictures, but to interview people and to share their experiences along with others like Bobby Fazio will be there, and he does excellent videography. Lee Kraft will probably be there, and others. Bobby Bennett, of course, will be there, and there will be a whole group of people bringing it to you both live and through pictures and videos. So stay tuned. But we encourage everybody also to go check out Bobby Fazio's page, Driver's Interview with Bobby Fazio. Excellent. And also for his podcast that he has on Tuesday nights. And we encourage you to support the others too.
Yeah, me and Robert, we might even try to get over to Cruise Pentagon Racing or John Force Racing because that weekend is just filled with a lot of things going on, and they like to have their open houses, give us a great opportunity to walk around and show the viewers what it's like inside of those facilities. Indy, the Big O offers a lot, not just there at the track. But a big thanks goes out to those teams like open up their doors for people to come in and take a peek. And I tell you, almost the majority of all your fuel teams are pretty much stationed there in Indy. Yeah,
that being the central part of the United States, it just completely makes sense. I mean, it makes sense. And I still believe NHRA needs to move their headquarters there, but that's just me. We'll talk about it a different time, because that's the central of racing for drag racing. That's just where it needs to be there in North Carolina, because just there's more tracks.
Well, I think the thing is, NHRA was started out west, and that's where the roots of it came from, and I think that's their main reason of staying where they are with their headquarters. But
Well, no, I get that, and I can respect that, and I don't mean do away with their Western roots. You can, of course, keep the museums there and other things there, but the main headquarters, because the racing is in Indy, just like NASCAR, their headquarters is in Daytona with the track, but their main headquarters in building is in North Carolina, because that's the central
Right.
part. That's where the main racing is, where more tracks come out. You know what I mean? Centralized. So that, I believe, that's what it should be. Move it to Indy, move the headquarters to Indy, keep the museum on the West Coast and other things like that, but move everybody to Indy, because let's face it, there's more racing going on. You only got what, 2/4 mile tracks in California now, if that.
yeah, and that's really a shame. Those tracks are, well, some of them are just disappearing out there.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, Pomona, Sonoma, Pomona, Bartone is the 8th mile. I think Irwindale's gone. So on the West Coast, I can't remember. I mean, it's very, 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 very scant. That's just me. You know what I mean? But that's where the racing's at. Indy. That track is hopping all the time with sportsman racing and professional racing and everything. As long as the weather's good, they're racing at Indy. It's like it should be. And it's like, here at Gainesville, racing all the time. South Georgia, Bradenton, Orlando. They're racing. Bowling
And
Green.
don't forget, just real quick about South Georgia, you bring that up. Go over there and check out South Georgia Motorsports Park Facebook page. They do a great job of keeping everyone updated what's going on. And like we were talking, they have the Sport Nationals that's going to be there next month. I think it's the 7th through the 12th, Robert.
I think it's the 9th through the 12th, and it's a doubleheader.
Yes, it's doubleheader. Mm-hmm. So they do a really great job, and go over there and like their page and pay attention. I'll tell you what, that's going to be a great weekend of racing right there.
Oh, it is. It is. Like you said, they're starting off with the Sports Nationals that was in Ohio. And so they've rescheduled it down here in Georgia when the track was sold. So the beginning of the first couple of days is the Sports Nationals, where they will have class eliminations for stock and super stock, just as we were talking to Bob about. So they're going to have that, and then they're going into after that, and when that's completed, the race is completed, then the next day or the next 2 days, whatever, then they're going into the points race. Okay, right. But now I found out that actually the rain-delayed national event in Bristol on the sportsman side is going to be completed at South Georgia. How, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to be fit in there, but they're going to fit it in somewhere, somehow.
We're going to have to fit it in during qualifying.
Yeah, but still, it's going to be a lot of logistics, but you're going to see a lot of racing for your ticket to get in there and go. And Mitchell and I, you and I got to talk on what day we're going to try to get away from work and go up there.
I'm probably going to be stuck at work until the weekend.
Yeah, because we're hit hard coming up July and August, going to September. We're away a lot.
Yeah, and, because when we get done with the U.S. Nationals, I think it's 2 weeks later. I plan on going back up to
Charlotte,
Concord. Yeah, yep. Concord, Charlotte, to ZMAX for the I think that is the second, right? Is that the second?
Yeah, I think,
first
second race.
Second race of the countdown. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah, and then me going up to Carolina at the beginning of July, and then go to another event. I can't remember. I'll lose track, and then go to the Tri-5, and then we go to Indy, and we got races in between there, and might try to squeeze over and go over to Shelby, go over to one of the tracks over there for an event while I'm up there. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to try.
Better drink you some caffeine, Robert.
Let's don't talk about that. Let's don't talk about that. But everybody, want to tell you thank you for joining us, and thank you for your support and continued support. We ask you to continue to support Redline and also for Scorpion Racing Products. Help those that help us, but also reach out to others like Flying Brian Trailers, FB Trailer Sales. They're local to us. They're in Orange Park, Florida, but they also they advertise and market at Gainesville Raceway and also for South Georgia. They support classes there. So we ask you to support people that support us, support racers. So we ask you to reach out to them, and also Big Stuff Fuel Injection. Okay, I just had a call about that yesterday, Mitchell. Yesterday, somebody asked me about us. We put them in contact with Big Stuff. They got a new exciting project coming on. They wanted to ask, so we sent them in that direction. But also continue to support us. Thank you. But continue to support us on Facebook, follow us, and subscribe on the YouTube channel. Also to Spotify, Instagram. We're going to rent somebody to a Skyrider here pretty soon. But
it's real easy. It's real easy. And I want to apologize for the ticker down at the bottom. It was not right.
It's we're both working Joes, so we apologize about that, Bob. We're both working Joes, so we just get going as hard and fast as you can, and sometimes run out a little bit of time.
Yeah, but we had Brock last time.
Yep, that's true. But everybody, we wanted to tell you thank you very much, and we appreciate it. And we'll see you. We'll see you shortly. Hopefully next week, if not the following.
Take care, everyone.
All right, everybody. Have a good night.